Welcome back. Here we continue with the second part of the video of the chapter, that is the second video on the chapter Eswaran the Storyteller. So what we find here, the place I come from is famous for timber. Eswaran would begin. There is a richly wooded forest all around. The logs are hauled onto the lorries by elephants. They are huge, well-fed beasts. When they turn wild, even the most experienced mouth is not able to control them. After this prologue, Eswaran would launch into an elaborate anecdote involving an elephant. So you see how he would start, then he would continue the stories. The place I come from is famous for commercial wood. Timber means commercial wood, wood that is used for commercial purpose. He would start that way. There is a richly wooded forest all around, and all around there is a richly wooded forest, and the pieces of wood, the logs, are hauled on to the lorries by elephants. So you must have seen how elephants carry wood and all. So these are hauled on to the lorries, trucks and all by elephants. They are huge, well-fed beasts, and these elephants are not ordinary elephants. They are huge, well-fed, eaten in a huge way, in a better, very good way, well-fed, fit to fed, well-fed beasts. When they turn wild, even the most experienced mouth is not able to control them. And the thing is what when they become very violent, even the most experienced mouth, you understand, one who takes care of elephants. Yeah. So even the most experienced mouth is not able to control them. After this prologue, after this introduction and all, Eswaran would launch into, an elaborated, detailed story involving an elephant. So he would start that way. See how it starts and how it ends. It's very interesting, the story is very interesting. One day, a tusker escaped from the timber yard and began to roam about, stamping on bushes, tearing up wild creepers, and breaking branches at will. Sir, how an elephant behaves when it goes mad. He should not get so caught up in the excitement of his own story that he would get up from the floor and jump about, stamping his feet in emulation of the mad elephant. So as he told the story, he was fully involved in the story, and he would explain and enact the movement of the elephant, showed the movement of the elephant also. So he said, one day, an elephant, a tusker means an elephant, escaped from the timber yard where the wood pieces are cut and all things, So he escaped from the timber yard and began to move about from here to there, stamping on bushes, like walking on it, destroying bushes and all, tearing up wild creepers. Tearing up, you understand, taking them out, making them into pieces and all, tearing up wild creepers, all creeping plants that are found in the forest, breaking branches at will. Whenever you felt like breaking a branch, it's like a mouse, an elephant gone mad, a scenario, like that. So he said, sir, how an elephant behaves when it goes mad. Eswaran would get so caught up in the excitement of his own story, and he would get so much involved in the story that he started telling and behaving to show how the elephant acted. Okay, so he would get up from the floor and jump about, stamping his feet in order to enact or act like the mad elephant, in emulation of the mad elephant. The elephant reached the outskirts of our town, breaking the fences down like matchsticks, he would continue. It came into the main road and smashed all the stalls selling fruits, mud pots, and clothes. People ran helter and skelter in panic. The elephant now entered a school ground where children were playing, breaking through the brick wall. All the boys ran into the classrooms and shut the doors tight. The beast grunted and wandered about, pulling out the football goalpost, tearing down the volleyball net, kicking and flattening the drum kept for water, and uprooting the shrubs. Meanwhile, all the teachers had climbed up to the terrace of the school building. From there, they helplessly watched the depredations of the elephants. There was not a soul below on the ground. The streets were empty, as if the inhabitants of the entire town had suddenly disappeared. So you see, the elephant, as the mad elephant went on, it reached the outskirts of our town. Outskirts, you understand, suburb area of the town, like like Karimganj town, say Botoroshi area, or you may say Dhorokuna area, Poneroghor area, this side or that way, you may say Kanishail area, this Suprakandi area. These are like outskirts of the town. So what is said here? The elephant now entered. What happened? Fences. Sorry, the elephant reached the outskirts of our town, breaking the fences down like matchsticks. He would continue. It came to the main road, and then what happened? And smashed all the stalls selling fruits, mud pots, and clothes. So it destroyed everything. People ran here and there in panic out of fear. The elephant now entered a school ground where children were playing, breaking through the brick wall. So it entered the playground, breaking through the brick wall. All the boys ran into the classrooms and shut the doors tight. The beast grunted, made noise, and wandered or moved about from one place to another, pulling out the football goalpost that was there for the students to play, tearing down the volleyball net. The volleyball net was also torn down by it, kicking and flattening the drum kept for water. Everything was being destroyed by it in the playground, and uprooting the shrubs also. Whatever was there, it's like it was destroying everything. Meanwhile, all the teachers have climbed up to the terrace of the school building. Why? From there, they help to see what's being done by the elephant. And so, from there, they helplessly watched the depredations of the elephant, the destructive activity of the elephant. Therefrom, they watched the destructive activity of the elephant. Okay. So, what happened there? You see, there was not a soul below. Not a soul below on the ground. Everyone was afraid, and nobody could even, you may say, dare go and fight or face it. Okay, so that was the thing. So what happened there? So not a soul could be seen there on the ground. The streets were empty, as if the inhabitants of the entire town had suddenly disappeared. It was so fearsome. I was studying in the junior class at that time and was watching the whole drama from the rooftop. I don't know what came over me suddenly. I grabbed a cane from the hands of one of the teachers and ran down the stairs and into the open. The elephant grunted and menacingly swung a branch of a tree which it held in its trunk. I stamped its feet. It stamped its feet, kicking up a lot of mud and dust. It looked frightening, but I moved slowly towards it, stick in hand. People were watching the scene, hypnotized from the nearby housetops. The elephant looked at me red-eyed, ready to rush towards me. It lifted its trunk, trumpeted loudly. At that moment, I moved forward and mustering all my force, whacked its third toenail on the quick. The beast looked stunned for a moment, then it shivered from head to foot and collapsed. So you see the story, it said, what happened? As if he said that he was there. I was studying in the junior class at that time when everyone was afraid and they were away. The Isharan said what? Isharan said, I was studying in the junior class at that time and was watching the whole drama from the rooftop. I was watching the whole drama from the rooftop. I don't know what came over me all of a sudden. And I grabbed a cane from the hands of one of the teachers and ran down the stairs and into the open. So I did what? All of a sudden, I don't know what happened to me. I somehow got some energy and just grabbed a cane from the hands of one of my teachers. Cane, you understand? And ran down the stairs and into the open field. The elephant grunted. It's made noise. You know how an elephant makes noise? And menacingly swung a branch of a tree which it held in its trunk, and in a very destructive, in a very, you can say, in a very cruel and destructive way, it swung a branch of tree which was there on its trunk, on the trunk of the elephant. So it attacked, it came towards me. I somehow escaped, it's not mentioned. It stamped its feet, its legs, you know, before an elephant attacks, how it stamps. So it stamped its feet, kicking up a lot of mud and dust. It looked very fearsome, it looked frightening. But I moved slowly towards it. And stick in hand. I had the stick in my hand and I moved slowly towards it. People were watching the scene, hypnotized, getting very much attracted and almost like spellbound. As if spellbound, hypnotized from nearby housetops. They were watching the scene. The elephant looked at me red-eyed, very angry, ready to run towards me. It lifted its trunk and trumpeted loudly. You know how an elephant lifts its trunk and makes sound, so trumpeted loudly. At that moment, I moved forward and gathering all my force, I just whacked, just like a teacher canes you, whacks you, I whacked its third toenail. Toenail, you know, toe, forefront part of a leg. So whacking its third toenail on the quick, very fast. The beast looked very surprised for a moment, and then it started trembling like this from head to foot, and then it fell down. You know how nice the story he told, what the tale of heroism. At this point, Isharan would leave the story unfinished and get up mumbling. It will be back after lighting the gas and warming up the dinner. Mohendra, who had been listening with rapt attention, would be left hanging. When he returned, Ishwaran would not pick up the thread of the story right away. Mohendra would have to remind him that the conclusion was pending. Well, a veterinary doctor was summoned to revive the animal. Ishwaran would shrug casually. 2 days later, it was led away by its mouth to the jungle. So what happened, you know? Like after that, the story up to this is said. Now what happened next? You are curious. But he would leave the story unfinished and get up mumbling, uttering something. I'll be back after lighting the gas and warming up the dinner and all. So some work left, he would have to finish it off. So Mohendro, who had been listening with complete attention and all, would be left hanging. Oh my goodness, what's left? What happened next? I have to know. But when he returned, Ishwaran would not pick up from that point where he ended. Mohendra would have to remind him that the conclusion was pending. And so he would conclude it like this. Well, a veterinary doctor was called to revive the animal. And then he would shrug casually, yeah, it took 2 days, you know, but 2 days later, it was led by its mouth to the jungle. So, this is how it continued. Well, how did you manage to do it, Sharan? How did you bring down the beast? So, Mohendra asked this question. How did you manage to do it, Isharan? With a cane you controlled the beast. How? Now he continued. It has something to do with a Japanese art, I think, sir. Karate or Jujitsu it is called. I had read about it somewhere. It's temporarily paralyzes the nervous system, you see. Now, when Mohendra asked this question, how you managed it? He said, no, it's a Japanese art. I know. You know, sir, it's a Japanese art. Karate or Jiu-Jitsu, I don't know. I'm not sure. It is called. Although, and I have read about it somewhere that it temporarily paralyzes the nervous system. So, the nervous system of the elephant was paralyzed. And so, he could over it like this. Okay, so we have finished up to this. In the next video, we'll take up from the next part, next line, next paragraph. Thank you.